hold on to your seats, because today we're diving into one of the most heated debates in UK politics right now. We've got a showdown that left political pundits and viewers alike absolutely stunned. But before we get into the nitty-gritty, do me a quick favour. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more of the content that keeps you informed, entertained, and ahead of the curve. Now, on to today's big story. The latest GB News debate featured Reform MP Lee Anderson, former UKIP leader Henry Bolton, and ex-Labour MP Stephen Pound, three political heavyweights with very different views about the so-called nanny state and the future of the NHS. What started as a discussion on obesity and healthcare spiralled into a fiery debate that left one side passionately defending government intervention while the other warned of its dangerous overreach. Stephen Pound even declared his love for the nanny state, an opinion that stunned Bolton and Anderson. You can bet the sparks flew. We'll break down exactly what happened in this explosive debate, including the major implications it could have for UK politics and public health. Plus, we'll dive into Labour's radical plans for the NHS and how it ties into the broader issue of government control. Stay with us. You're not going to want to miss a second of this. Let's jump right into the fireworks. The debate kicked off with Henry Bolton raising serious concerns about the UK government's increasing tendency to become a nanny state. The focus was on public health, particularly obesity, and what role the government should play in addressing it. Bolton made his position crystal clear. He believes that the more the government intervenes in people's lives, the worse off the public will be. Nanny state most certainly isn't the way to go, Bolton argued. You're starting to control people then. According to him, once the government starts telling people what to eat, how much to exercise, and how to live their lives, it's only a matter of time before resentment builds. He painted a pretty bleak picture of where this could lead, an increasingly stressed and unhappy population, possibly even resorting to stress eating because of all the rules and regulations being imposed on them. If you take control of people's lives, you will then have a very, very unhappy population in all sorts of respects, he warned, emphasizing that too much government control could do more harm than good. Then came the moment that left everyone, panellists and viewers alike, speechless. Ex-Labour MP Stephen Pound didn't just support government intervention, he went as far as to say, "I love the idea of a nanny state." That's right, he loves it. According to Pound, the state has a duty to look after its citizens, especially when it comes to healthcare. He argued that without the government stepping in, people would be left to fend for themselves, which could lead to even worse health outcomes. "I think the state has a duty to look after us," Pound said firmly. He's convinced that a more hands-on approach by the government is necessary to ensure that everyone gets the care they need. For Pound, this isn't just about obesity. It's about ensuring that the NHS can function effectively and that public health measures are in place to guide people toward healthier lives. The reaction from Lee Anderson and Henry Bolton was instant and intense. Anderson, visibly taken aback by Pound's declaration, exclaimed, "I don't know what's going through Stephen's mind." His disbelief was palpable. He couldn't understand how anyone could embrace the idea of a government that controls so many aspects of people's lives, especially when it comes to something as personal as health and lifestyle choices. Bolton quickly jumped back into the conversation, pushing back against Pound's pro-nanny state stance. "The British people are a bit more sensible than they're given credit for," he argued. According to Bolton, most Brits are fully capable of making their own decisions about what's best for them and their families without needing the government to step in. "I have trust in British people in that sense," he added, emphasising his belief in personal responsibility over state intervention. But while this debate rages on, there's an even bigger issue at play. Labour's Wes Streeting has been making waves with his radical stance on the NHS. At the Labour conference in Liverpool, Streeting delivered a blistering speech describing the NHS as broken. His words were blunt, perhaps even shocking for someone tasked with overseeing the health service. He didn't shy away from calling out what he sees as the NHS's fundamental flaws, accusing past governments of killing the health service with kindness. Streeting's diagnosis of the NHS left many in shock, but he insists that this harsh truth is necessary to bring about real change. "If you don't have an accurate diagnosis, you won't provide the correct prescription," he told the Labour delegates, and he didn't stop there. He's calling for a complete overhaul of the NHS, aiming to fix what he says are years of mismanagement and neglect. But his blunt approach has some senior NHS figures concerned that such strong language could demoralise an already overstretched and overworked healthcare workforce. And if all that wasn't enough, let's talk about the looming economic storm on the horizon. The country is anxiously awaiting Rachel Reeves's autumn budget, and pensioners in particular are bracing for bad news. Under current rules, retirees can withdraw up to 25% of their pension savings tax-free, but that might soon change. With Labour scrambling to plug a £22 billion financial black hole, there's a real possibility that this tax-free limit could be slashed. Financial experts have sounded the alarm. Stephen Cameron from Aegon, a wealth management firm, warned that capping the tax-free lump sum would be highly controversial. The Institute for Fiscal Studies, IFS, even predicts that a cap could impact 1 in 5 pension savers. That's a huge number of people who could be left scrambling to withdraw their lump sums before Labour makes these changes official. But it doesn't stop with pensions. Reeves is also reportedly considering a windfall tax on major oil and gas companies like Shell, BP and HSBC. This has sparked fears of a potential repeat of the infamous 2022 mini-budget, which sent the UK economy into freefall and ultimately led to Liz Truss's resignation. Investors are warning that such a tax could have catastrophic consequences for the FTSE 100, as these energy giants make up a significant portion of the index. John Chung, head of equities and markets at Investors Edge, said that a windfall tax could lead to serious damage to the UK's biggest companies and the stock market as a whole. Reeves's tax raid risks clamping down on economic growth, he warned. One wrong move could send the whole tower tumbling, with a potential repeat of the infamous 2022 mini-budget. Pensioners and investors alike are holding their breath, waiting to see what Labour's next move will be. And let's be clear, any major tax changes could have long-term implications for millions of Brits. So, where does this all leave us? The debate over the nanny state isn't just an abstract political argument, it's a real, pressing issue that could shape the future of the UK. Henry Bolton and Lee Anderson have made it clear that they believe in personal responsibility and minimal government interference. On the other hand, Stephen Pound and Wes Streeting argue that the state has a duty to step in and ensure that public health, especially in a broken NHS, is properly managed. And then there's the looming threat of pension and tax reforms. With Rachel Reeves's autumn budget just around the corner, retirees, investors, and even everyday Brits are bracing for what could be a dramatic shift in the country's financial landscape. Will Labour's difficult decisions plug the gap in public finances, or will they trigger another economic crisis like the 2022 mini-budget? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Should the government have more control over our health and finances, or is it time to let people take the reins themselves? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future updates.